Oh, well, aren't you just prettier than a peach? Look at you. You look like a tall glass of sweet tea. I could just gulp, 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 gulp. What was I talking about? Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to my YouTube channel. Call me Chris the Tradwife and you can call me Chris the Tradwife, and yes, I did dress up for this occasion, and no, I'm not actually a tradwife, but that is what we're going to be talking about today. A topic that has been quite honestly haunting all of my For You pages. The topic of the controversial, conspiratorial tradwives. And if you don't know what a tradwife is, it is a neologism for traditional wife or traditional housewife. In recent Western culture, typically denotes a woman who believes in and practices patriarchal roles and marriages. Many tradwives believe that they do not sacrifice women's rights by choosing to take a homemaking role within their marriage. And apparently, this tradwife life is becoming an epidemic of sorts.
Meet Nara Smith, model, wife of Lucky Blue Smith. Probably seen Nara on your FYP making cereal from scratch or documenting her family life in glamorous outfits. And those videos have gained her over 2 million TikTok followers.
Nara Smith isn't a tradwife influencer. You're either a neoliberal capitalist feminist, you have internalized misogyny.
Everything that Nara Smith does in her videos is everything that the patriarchy has taught us to do as women.
Is this guy a misogynistic because he's a Mormon?
And they're beautiful and they have this beautiful life. And then you scratch the surface a little bit and you're like, why the f is she constantly cooking like things from scratch? And then you scratch the surface a little bit more and you're like, oh my God, this is Mormon propaganda.
TikTok's tradwives are under attack because the internet thinks they're a plague to society.
These tradwives on social media are gonna be the end of y'all. They are selling you a life and a dream that they do not even live.
So let's get into it. So like I said, we're gonna be peeling back the layers to this freshly backyard garden grown onion known as tradwives. And I'll be giving my opinion about the whole ordeal because I find it fascinating and it's my channel and I can do what I want. So let's start with one of TikTok's most popular tradwives, Nara Smith. Nara Smith is a 23-year-old model slash influencer from South Africa and Germany that has amassed over 6 million TikTok followers and 2.7 million Instagram followers, and has captivated and divided TikTok with her elaborate cooking videos, which document the daily homemade meals she makes for her 3 children and her husband, 25-year-old model Lucky Blue Smith. Sick name. And for a little background, Nara Smith and Lucky Blue got married in February of 2020, and they've had 3 children since they've gotten married. And wait, you need to hear these names, okay? Names of the kids, okay? Rumble Honey, Slim Easy, and Whimsy Lou. What the f? Now, a lot of people, on top of everything else, are also criticizing her for her children's names, which, if you're on the internet, you're open to criticism and everything. I think with those names, you are set up to succeed in life. Like, you cannot fail in life with those names. You either have to be a CEO, a high fashion designer, or like a Disney princess. I don't know, but I'm here for it. And Lucky, her husband, also has another daughter named, wait for it, Gravity Blue. What? From a previous relationship with model Stormy B. All these people have substantially cooler names than me, and it makes me upset. So I kind of get where people are coming from. I'm just kidding. It doesn't actually make me upset, but I think their names are cool, and let's keep moving forward, because we're not even scratching the surface yet. Now, to start, a lot of people are judging Nara Smith for just being a young mom, having all 3 of her kids by the age of 23. And more so because she comes from a Mormon background. And for those of you who don't know, Mormons are a religious group that embrace concepts of Christianity as well as revelations made by their founder, Joseph Smith. They primarily belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the LDS, which is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, and has more than 16 million members worldwide. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and judge people for having a certain faith, especially as long as it's not harmful, and nor should you. But like I said, one of the reasons people are judging Nara Smith is because she comes from a background of having a Mormon faith. But Nara Smith herself doesn't really mention this throughout any of her videos. I think on like 1 or 2 occasions I heard her mention just in passing that she was like writing devotions out or something like that in like a vlog, but she's not like showing shoving it down people's throats like people make it out to be. She's even gone on to say this, quote unquote, "I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still learning and figuring out my own faith. I'm not in any way a hardcore Mormon or anything like that." And she added that she doesn't wear garments, a specific type of underwear worn by Mormons, and didn't get married in a temple either. So she's kind of, like loose Mormonism. I don't know. But it doesn't really matter because it's her business. All right. She says, "Both me and my husband are on our own journeys and figuring out how we want to raise our kids." Fair enough. Don't understand why people are pissed about that. It seems innocent enough to me, but that's not all. And like I said before, people are heavily judging her as well because she had kids so young and thinking that Lucky Blue, her husband, had kind of forced that on her or pushed her to do that. But she would go on to debunk those claims.
I've always wanted to be a young mom because growing up, my dad would always tell us that he regrets having kids later in life. So I took that advice and it's one of the best decisions I could have made. And I know it's not for everyone.
And I respect that, man. It's her life. It's her choice. And she seems really happy with those decisions from what we can see anyway. Do I have a hair on my lip? How unladylike. Sorry. But what's really pissing people off to no end, specifically pissing off other moms and other single women around the world, is the fact that this monster, Nara Smith, cooks her family meals and snacks from scratch on a daily basis and has the audacity, okay? The audacity to shove it in our faces on a public platform. What a bitch.
My husband has been loving Snickers bars, and when he was craving one today, I just decided to make him a batch myself. My sister's in town to visit, and she's been craving bubblegum so bad, but she ran out, so I just decided to make it for her. When I asked my toddlers what they wanted for lunch, they both wanted a grilled cheese, so that's exactly what I got started on. Toddlers requested some yogurt this morning, and we were running low, so I just decided to make it myself.
If you didn't understand it before, I was being sarcastic. Okay? But I will play the devil's advocate in this because it is quite literally just me here and I need to play both sides. I do see where some people are getting annoyed by her videos. Upset or angry. I don't understand that, but like maybe slightly annoyed. Maybe. Because Nara Smith will usually start out her videos with this aesthetic and soothing intro along the lines of this. "My toddlers woke me up this morning requesting PB&J sandwiches for breakfast, so I got right to work. Starting with making the bread, peanut butter, and jelly from scratch." And if you think I'm embellishing, I'm not even a little bit. Here's an example.
This morning, my toddler stumbled into my room, and her first words were PB&J, so that's exactly what I got started on. Growing up, I loved having fresh bread. It was one of my favorite things, so I get it. Started by making a really simple sandwich bread with some yeast, water, salt, sugar, and flour. Kneaded that until a dough formed, and then let that dough rise for about 2 hours until it doubled in size.
So a lot of the comments on these videos are positive. She does have a very large positive fan base as well as a, negative fan base, as we all do. But the reason people are criticizing her so much is because the food that the toddlers request often takes about 2 to 10 hours to prepare. So people are just going at her in the comments saying how unrealistic that is. It's kind of funny. And also they're outraged by the fact that she is constantly dressed in anything from an evening gown to a cocktail dress to prepare this food. But I can't even imagine being like one of these kids just asking their mom for like a simple granola bar as a snack before they gotta head out the door, as toddlers do. Then they have to wait 3 to 4 business days for her to get all dolled up, harvest, cure, and process, and combine all the materials from scratch to make it. But, and that's a big but, mate, she's making it from scratch, dude. If that's not love, I don't know what is. And I'm sure a majority of other people would be so over the moon if our mothers or fathers took the time out of their day to make us something from scratch, who had the luxury of time to make us something from scratch, which I know a lot of our parents didn't, and probably a lot of parents don't nowadays, and that's where the outrage comes from. Therein lies the problem for so many of these people just ragging on Nara. In simple terms, they're just jealous. They're jealous of the fact that she shows off her cooking, that she promotes alleged tradwife behavior, giving birth and feeding her family, looking good and creating a work-life balance, all while becoming successful on the internet by working and making money for her family. Terrible. She's a terrible human being. This is satire. If you don't understand when I'm being sarcastic, I'm being sarcastic right now. So what I'm trying to say is just like everything everybody argues about is just, it's crazy. It's crazy. People are just comparing themselves to her way too much. It's a different life, baby, okay? And in my personal opinion, she's kind of badass. And I'm sure a lot of you do agree with me. Like, she's not doing any harm. She's just showing how she shows love to her family, which she mentions in almost every video, because I feel like she feels like she needs to put a disclaimer that she actually likes to cook for her husband and kids, and she's not made to cook for them, which I understand some trad wives probably are, and they're probably in a worse situation. But I think Nara Smith is under fire for the wrong reasons. And I think this is making some people around the world feel inadequate in their homes, and they're just voicing that and taking it out on her page. Which is, I mean, that's with like every influencer. You see someone doing something that you wish you could do or that you think they're making you feel bad for not doing, and it's very easy to just take it out on them. But that's not the case here, you know? It's pretty obvious. But on the other side of the coin, in a more positive side of the coin, I think it is very much inspiring people to start making stuff from scratch, to spend that quality time with family while cooking. And I fall on that side of the coin. The lazy side of the coin. I'm the one that watches it and I think it's awesome and I save it to do later and then I just never do those recipes and it just stays in my saved little thing and then I feel like shit. But I still love it. And what Nara Smith posts on the internet could be fake for all we know. I feel like everyone is so quick to believe everything that they see on the internet. But do I think that what Nara's doing is fake? No. But do I think what she does is a bit embellished to seem more aesthetically pleasing for the audience and to seem almost unrealistic, to be more shareable and talked about on social media platforms in order to boost herself on the algorithm? Yeah. Dude, it's her job. And that's 99% of people on the internet. You guys think I'm actually real? No. Okay? I'm actually an adorable tiny alien piloting a human vehicle vessel made of silicone and carbon fiber. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nara is also notorious for saying that she's about to make something very simple and easy, when in fact it is one of the most complicated cooking or baking endeavors any normal Joe Blow has ever encountered in their life. But what people forget is that she was raised in a household where that was simple. She wasn't raised on instant oatmeal and sugary cereal and Welch's packets like we were, all right? We're all trash. I'm just kidding, we're not trash. We just came from different places. Remember, she was born in South Africa and she lived in Germany as a kid and she was raised on, you know, making shit from scratch, okay? People just post what they know. That's what I do. I post what I know. I throw jokes at the wall like shit and see if it sticks. Okay? But you can see in some of the parody videos made about her that people are poking fun at her and calling her out for this claim.
Last night, my toddlers could not stop asking for a bowl of cereal, so I decided to wake up and make them one. These are so easy to whip together. So first you get the seeds, and then you start to grow your own grain.
I stumbled across these fresh ingredients and I knew exactly what to make him. I decided to make the butter from scratch, so I seasoned it and let it sit for a few hours. This was the final result.
So when I woke up this morning, my kids were in the mood for some water, so I went to the ocean and got some water from scratch.
And as innocent and as lighthearted as those parody videos are, some people are just ripping her apart in the comments, man. And I just don't think it's fair. And again, I think it stems from jealousy and a bit of ignorance maybe, but people can live a life drastically different than your own, whether it's more traditional or not, and they can be happy and healthy. And I think Nara Smith specifically is unapologetically kicking ass at the social media game and at being a mom. And I know we don't see what's going on behind closed doors at all times, but she hasn't really given us any reason to speculate, so I humbly believe people should back the off Nara Smith and just enjoy the content for what it is. And the next trad wife on the chopping block is Ballerina Farm.
Good morning, everyone. I'm on the barnyard, as you can tell. Hi, girl. So this right now is just colostrum. Her milk hasn't come in. Dairy cows, they produce more than enough colostrum for their calf. Today we are making some Rocky Road ice cream. And this is the buttermilk. So buttermilk, all the butter fat separates. And what you have left over from the cream is called buttermilk.
Awesome, Mom.
tiny little chunks of fresh butter.
Now, I'd say out of the two tradwives we're talking about today, Ballerina Farm, aka Hannah Nealman, is the most hated, unfortunately. And I'll give you the deets as to why, and we can get into it, whether that's true or not. So to give you a little background, Nealman is a millennial mother of 8. Damn! Anyway, she has 3 sons and 5 daughters who live with her husband, Daniel. And they live on a working farm in Utah. And the ballerina part of her online moniker comes from the fact that before she settled down in Utah, Nealman was a professional dancer who studied and performed at Juilliard. According to her posts online, after marrying and living in Brazil for a few years, the couple are members of the LDS Church as well. They found passion in farming and the rural, slow life, which I respect, man. That's my dream, man. I'm trying to make that a dream right now. And I'm not a trad wife by any means, despite how I'm dressed right now. I kind of walked into that one. So they moved back to the US and purchased their property and began to expand their business, now selling beef, pork, baked goods, and homewares nationwide. And for many years, Nealman operated in relative obscurity on the internet, posting about her life and raising all of her children and the farm and baking bread to a small audience of a few 100,000, which that's not small. That's pretty big. A decently large audience, a few 100,000, but not in comparison to what she has now. She'd post videos of her dancing, she'd laugh as her kids milk cows, she'd walk followers through how to make a pie crust or a sourdough, and so on. Not to mention, she's beautiful with long blonde hair and a wardrobe with floral dresses and skirts. She very much gave off the Little House on the Prairie vibe, and she made her life look very idyllic despite its obvious challenges by like running a farm and having all those kids, etc. Never claiming, by the way, that she was inherently poor or struggling in any way. She was just posting, and then people started to dig. And some of the other things that she would post about that kind of got people's brains turning a little bit was her pageants. She was in the pageant circuit for years, competing in Miss New York pageants as a young college student and moving on to Mrs. American pageant, a pageant for married women, as she got older. And after winning Mrs. Utah in 2021, she was crowned Mrs. American this past year. So as she's posting and getting a bit more of a following, it's hard to pinpoint exactly when the keyboard warriors started coming after her crown, but it happened fast and it happened hard.
Hannah Nealman, drama started to surface once people found out that her father-in-law, David Nealman, is the owner and founder of 5 different aviation companies like JetBlue, Azul, and Breeze Airways. Basically saying that her family has a crazy amount of money. People are calling out Ballerina Farms right now for faking her simple farm lifestyle. This led critics to saying that her life is simply not as tough as other farmers.
So as the clip mentioned, it came to light that Ballerina Farms was not all that she seemed. What? An influencer romanticizing their life to be more aesthetic and pleasing to watch for the viewer? I can't believe it. Nothing like that's ever happened before. So people would start to dig, and they would find that Hannah and her family were not the Little House on the Prairie family that they were presenting on the internet. And I don't know if it was the $32,000 oven and range behind her in almost every video that gave it away, or the fact that she lives on an expansive acreage with a family of 10 with dozens of farm animals. But people found out somehow and were pissed for some reason. And it is worth noting, and I said this before, that Hannah never said that she wasn't generationally wealthy, which she is. She just posted videos to post videos and to help grow her current family business, which is not a crime. She wasn't lying by any means. Yes, I'm sure she was very privy to the fact that showing the farm life and dressing the way that she did, she was giving a certain aesthetic that would be, fun to follow. It's really fun to watch those kind of videos. It's almost like going back in time. But I can also see that she probably just likes to live like that. From what we can see, that is how she lives. Again, nothing is real on the internet necessarily, but it's fine for her to do that. I mean, that's a space she found success in, and she's not lying about it necessarily. So people being outraged about it is just dumb, pretty much. On top of that controversy, though, came another controversy that she had the audacity to squeeze into a pageant dress only weeks after giving birth to her 8th child.
This is her 12 days postpartum. She just had her 8th child, and now she's preparing to be in a pageant. People are saying that normal postpartum woman, you shouldn't idolize this. It's not realistic. 12 days postpartum, which A lot of doctors and nurses will argue that you can't even work out your first 6 weeks postpartum, and she's already doing it 12 days. A lot of women are still in bed 12 days postpartum. Other moms are saying, can we just support her? Postpartum's already difficult. I'm a mother of 6. I have a newborn in my arms, but I know how much the body needs to rest. But she's fulfilling her role for Mrs. America. She needs our support. This is her trying on dresses 12 days postpartum.
And I think it's hilarious how this is even considered controversy. I think people on the internet are just bored at this point, but I needed to make this video anyway. But there is not one universal postpartum experience, so all the moms getting mad at her for having a not ideal postpartum experience and working out and getting in shape and being able to prep for a show so soon after birth, that's her story. You can have a completely different story. I know some moms that are freaking like bedridden for months after they give birth, and that sucks, but other moms can get up. My mom could get up and go for a hike 3 days after she gave birth. Everybody's just different, you know?
So here at Ballerina Farm, we now have about 20 plus employees. Some are full-time. Daniel says we have about a small army of part-time high school students that come after school as well to help prep and wrap brand boxes and do all those things. Daniel's out on the ranch. He has a couple ranch hands that help him out there. You can see the livestock out there, out in the pasture.
And the comments on the video just kind of prove my point. And amidst all the controversies, Hannah doesn't actually address her haters in any way, shape, or form. She doesn't engage with the discourse, and she doesn't try to clear the air about anything. She just continues to make bread, post her videos of her dancing and living her life with her kid, which I think is great. Don't feed the haters, you know? But I can respect the fact that she is clearly living a life of extreme privilege, but I wouldn't say that she's flaunting it or shoving it down our throats like a lot of other influencers do on a daily basis.
Where do I even start?
I'm only 9 years old, but I'm richer than all y'all broke-ass haters.
Yes, the Blood Money collection is here.
Some women exist online and in life, just living life more traditionally than others, or not, and I think women should stop comparing and contrasting against them and just take it at face value. There's not necessarily a conspiracy behind all this trad wife stuff. I think it's really just women living their lives and also working, making money, which inherently isn't a very trad wife thing to do, but I think people should stop comparing themselves to people online in general, trad wives aside, because the people online especially are just people that have gotten extremely lucky, pun intended, and they're just trying to make the most of it. Yes, both these women from the outside looking in work hard at what they do and have worked hard to get to where they are, maybe with generational wealth helping them or not, but they also got extremely lucky in blowing up on Instagram and TikTok and all the other platforms. And I think that they can acknowledge that. I know I can. I acknowledge that every day. I got really lucky, pun intended. And I am so grateful every day, and I try to make the most of it every day as long as this job will have me. But that concludes the video. I know that this is kind of a different video and I don't always do videos like this, but I just thought this topic was really interesting. I think people are just going way too hard on this topic. I don't think it matters as much as people think it matters. I think we should just kind of let people live their lives as long as, you know, everything's going all right. Who am I to say anything? I'm an idiot on the internet, but that's all I have to say. So if you like the video, please like the video. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. This is always the best YouTube channel ever. And I will see your beautiful face in the next video, okay? Bye.